Hey everybody, my name is Courtney. Welcome back to my channel. I was watching this video that I made of myself talking about my twin flame journey, and I was crying, and it was just really difficult for me. It was really vulnerable, but I realized that I didn't really get to talk about what really some of the specifics of the journey. So again, my name is Courtney. This is my channel, The House of Rest, a sanctuary for the exhausted spiritual seeker. And I dated a person for about 6.5 years before it all just came crashing down like the tower in the tarot. We met each other. We had a lot of mutual friends, and we met each other before one summer. And then in the winter, I saw them again at a performance, and I unexpectedly came out of the house. I came out of the house. This was a woman. I wasn't a lesbian relationship, but I came out the house one night not planning to. I was already going through a lot from someone else that I had been dating off and on for several years, and we weren't dating, but I was still really having a hard time. And so I was so funny thinking about my channel about transition and transformation and being in the liminal space. I was in this really awkward space, right, where I wasn't with this person, but I was talking to them, and I was really sad about something that was going on. So someone invited me out the house, and I saw my twin again out that night. And we hung out with our mutual friends, and we went out to dinner with our friends, and they walked me to my car, asked me for my number or my Instagram or something like that. And we just started talking. And then we started hanging out. And this person just brought so much joy to my life. I mean, it was like a person that I had never been with anyone really like them. And I was just so intrigued and having a good time. So we were hanging out for a little while. And I remember they asked me to be their girlfriend. On Valentine's Day, they cooked me this really nice surf and turf dinner at my house, and she cracked open lobster tails. Had never done that before. I was really impressed and felt really special. And she asked me to be her girlfriend in a very interesting way, and just based off her lifestyle. It's not like she asked, "Will you be my girlfriend?" But she asked if I wanted to be with her, and I was like, yeah, I guess I really like you. And so we started dating, and I remember our first argument. We woke up one morning, and I was asking them questions about some things with them, and I really did not like the answers that I heard. And I'm going to speak in very vague terms because I'm not trying to put their business out there, but I also want to express what this journey has been like, right? So we get into our first argument, and I mean, this was only a couple months in, and I was like, I can't be with someone like you. I already had felt it was a red flag, and I was already compromising my integrity based off of the conversation that we had. And I was like, I don't like this. But they were like, I really want to change. I really want to work on that and whatever. And I'm like, okay. So we keep hanging out, and it just, this was the cycle, right? Didn't realize that I was with an avoidant. Didn't realize how much she was avoiding her own responsibilities, things in her life. I saw discrepancies when it came to her integrity and her morals and her values, and I continued to look past them. I continued to believe she wants to change and she wants to work on these things, and I should be more patient. I was not listening to my intuition. We went through years of me trying to spiritually encourage her, and her telling me you're being too mean, you're too controlling, you're too demanding. Who can deal with a person like this? I can barely deal with a person like this. And I used to feel very gaslit. I felt very gaslit during the entire relationship. But I continued to question myself, and that was a thing even before. And I can just see how God, like the twin flame journey, it's all about awakening. It's not really about like this other person and coming into union with your person. It's really not about that. It's about spiritual awakening. And God had been trying to get to me for years about learning how to trust myself, trusting my intuition, trusting what my body is telling me. You know what I mean? So, we went through a lot of arguing back and forth. We had amazing times together. I mean, I did some of my first things throughout my life. I mean, we had an amazing spiritual connection. We both related about our love for God. Even though I, even questioned her authenticity with that, because it's like, look at your life. You feel me? But she also would point out my anger and my rage. And I think about Lilith. Oh my God. I think about Lilith and astrology. My channel is all about like astrology and teachings from the Bible and tarot. It's like, those are my 3 favorite tools when it comes to my spirituality and connecting with God. And so I just see how my anger and my tantrums and just the way I expressed my dissatisfaction, I used to feel so guilty. I used to feel so bad about myself, and I used to feel like as if I didn't deserve her or something. You know what I mean? But I recognized throughout the relationship that I felt very manipulated. I felt taken advantage of. I was the one who was like financially providing for the most part. I was in my masculine. I did not feel safe, or I didn't feel safe to be vulnerable and to be soft. And I think that the chaser and the twin flame journey, the divine feminine, probably has a lot of wounds when it comes to certain things in her childhood, and why you felt like you had to operate in your masculine. And so then you get with this masculine, or switch the roles with whoever. But it's like when you get with this other person, you're triggered. You're so triggered. And that's like the purpose, right? You're supposed to trigger each other into your own awakenings. And so I had to learn how to trust myself, and she had a lot of growing to do when it came to like being responsible and just growing and evolving and walking in truth and integrity and authenticity, to really take off the mask. I feel like the divine masculines have an issue with taking off the mask. It's these defense mechanisms that both the masculine and feminine have their own defense mechanisms, hence why there's this runner-chaser dynamic. But I shared in the video about just like my move to Bali and just my emotions about it. We went through being together for 6.5 years, and then she wound up coming home one day and just told me that she was leaving because she felt very triggered about something that I did. And I blamed myself for the separation. I cried and apologized, and I was like willing to do whatever. I'm like, we're supposed to be together. Like, we're meant to be together. Like, what's your problem? And it took me a few months. I'm still going to attach the other video here just so you can see the other things that I said. But I don't know if I'm going to put this before or after, so whatever. But yeah, so it was a tough 6.5 years. I felt like I should have walked away way before. Maybe if I would have just walked away, we could have done some healing and potentially came back together. But we didn't. And so she left. I went through a few months of just grieving in my home. I couldn't stand to be there anymore. I couldn't stand to, I had to leave. I had to leave Las Vegas. That's where I was living. And so I moved to Bali, Indonesia, just to have a fresh start. I thought maybe I would just come for a little while. Maybe we were going to get back together. I think that's part of the delusion of the twin flame journey, is that like, oh, we're going to get back together. I don't know. You may not ever get back together, for real. And in the time apart, you start to realize in exploring yourself, you start to realize who you are, and even questioning like why you even want to be with this person in the first place. Like, why are you still desiring to be with this person that seems to be no good for you at all? So it's been a very confusing time. It's been a very emotional time. I can actually talk about it in a different headspace at this point, just because I've been going through this for almost a year. In about 30 days, it'll be about a year. And I thought we were going to be back together by now. I've gone through no contact. I've gone through trying to work things out long distance. I actually went to Las Vegas for about a week after living in Bali for 6 months, and we saw each other, and I thought maybe it was going to be going back in a better direction, and it's not, bro. It's still the same stuff, honestly. It's like they come in, they love bomb, they act like they've been working on themselves. I don't know. I really don't know, but it just seems like it's still the process of, still some sort of process that I have to be in. But I'm starting to feel more aligned with my purpose. Like, I keep hearing about the twin flame journey with how it's not about coming into union with your person. It's about coming into union with yourself, which I also say in the other video. And I think that process is kind of hard at first. You know what I'm saying? You're like, how can I even put energy into anything else? My mind is so wrapped up in this person that I feel like I'm supposed to be with. I feel like, how can I even continue my life? How can I think about my future if I'm not imagining this person in it? It's been very painful, and you learn so much about yourself, your attachments, your thought process, your own limitations. You know what I'm saying? It's such a journey of self-exploration. I can't imagine what she's going through, and I pray for her, because I feel like that part of the journey, I don't even think I would want to deal with. I'd rather be on this side, to be honest. And so I'm just going to briefly mention too that I mentioned this parallel in another one of my videos, and I can link that in the description or put it like at the end of the video for you to look at it next. It's kind of long, but it's going through like some of my, just putting my thoughts together on this twin flame journey when it comes to the divine masculine, the divine feminine, and the relationship between that all throughout eternity, and what God, the purpose of this journey and all of that. If you might not be, I mean, if you're watching this video, you're probably, it's something about a relationship that you've been in, right? But not everyone going through a spiritual awakening and people who are going through the process of inner union, is it about like another person? So I just want to also acknowledge that. And but thinking about the concept of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, and how the feminine leads the way. The feminine is willing to descend down into darkness. The feminine is willing to go into the unknown. Like, that's her energy. The feminine is so comfortable with the void, even though it's been like a scary and like what feels like traumatizing experience. I feel like the feminine is willing to do that. And the masculine, once the feminine really starts to like embrace her journey and pour that energy back into herself, I feel like then the masculine really probably starts to do the work. So after almost a year, I say at least 7 months, like I was studying and like trying to get into my purpose, but the last month I have really been taking strides. Like, I mean, I've been like committed to getting into my purpose, taking my attention off of the masculine. I'm back into no contact. And yeah, so I've only been on this journey for a year. I know some other people who've talked about their journeys, they've been on it for multiple years. Some people, I feel like that's like a common thing too, that if you even were to unite with your twin, which that's not what it's about, and that's not what always happens, that you go through like a significant time of separation. So I don't know what's like the shortest amount of time people feel like they've been separated from their twin, or, you know, like the longest if you just live the rest of your life and you don't reunite with your twin like in this lifetime, or you just get on a different timeline. Like, I don't even know. I really don't even know. I'm honestly still exploring this and talking to God a lot about it every single day. But I'm so grateful for this awakening. And I've even told my personness, that I'm so grateful for everything that's happened because it's completely changed my life. So I don't want to make this too long. I will still attach the other video where I was like crying and talking about it. If you don't want to hear it, if this was enough, you can just skip past it. I'll make sure I put chapters so that you don't have to listen to anything you don't want to hear. But thank you so much for sharing this space with me. I will continue to talk about my journey. I do astrology readings and tarot readings, and also have created some digital products when it comes to understanding the spiritual spiral that, you know, we go through in these human bodies, because the flesh and the spirit war against each other. We're spirits living in this flesh, and it's not the same laws, you know, for those two different systems. So anyway, I hope that this was helpful, and I'm sending you so much love, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Hi, my name's Courtney, and I'm here to talk about my twin flame journey. I don't even know how I even feel about that phrase anymore. I felt like I had been in love before in my life, and then I met this person who just completely turned my world upside down. Someone who brought a lot of joy into my life. Someone that I had a really strong connection with. I was in a relationship with this person for about 6.5 years. They broke up with me because we were having a lot of problems, and they felt like I couldn't make them happy. They felt like they couldn't make me happy. And we were just arguing all the time, and it just seemed like it just wasn't really gonna get better. I was devastated because through all of my anger and rage and expressions of dissatisfaction, all I wanted was for our relationship to be better, for our relationship to be healthy, for us to have a life together. I was inconsolable for months. I took a trip to Bali, Indonesia, shortly after the separation. And I decided once I got back from my vacation that I was going to move there. And it really was because it was unbearable for me to be in my home that I shared with my partner for years. It felt like such a drastic change. But I didn't think I would be able to stay. I didn't want to see the friends that we had shared together. I didn't want to go into my kitchen. We cooked all the time together. I didn't want to go to places that we went to together, which was a lot of places. And I just felt shattered. Moving to Bali, I was definitely moving for peace. I've done so much self-exploration. I do my best every day to take care of myself, to take care of my dog, to continue to put one foot in front of the other. Excuse me, I'll bring a tissue. I have gone back and forth so many times on how to let go of the idea of union. I've wanted to be open to dating other people. I've wanted to move on with my life. And it's insane to me that all of these months later, I still feel like I want to be with this person. I've gone through no contact. I've tried communicating, even from a distance. And even just recently, I actually saw them again. I had hopes that it was going to be better. I am doing my best to find acceptance. But it actually feels like really hard to deal with. How do we resolve this in the spiritual realm? Just thinking about divine counterparts and the twin flame journey and how to heal that connection within myself. Again, letting go of the idea of union and focusing on union within myself. There's times where I feel like I'm doing really well, where I'm fine without speaking to this person. And then there's times where I feel like, will I ever be okay again? There's so many things that I felt like I blamed myself for. And I don't mean to blame you, Courtney. I'm sorry for blaming you. I know you always did your best. You always did your best. And that is commendable. You've prayed. You've moved. And not just physically. You have been moving. You've been taking steps. You haven't given up. It's beautiful that you haven't given up on love. That you haven't given up on yourself. I pray
for the people who are on this journey, who just want to love and be loved. For us to heal this for the sake of love and peace. Not for anyone to win, not for running away from the pain. Thank you.